Jessica Reynolds froze when she heard it, a sound she thought she'd never hear again. Her daughter's voice. After 18 months of devastating silence, after dozens of specialists and thousands of dollars in therapy, a complete stranger at a playground did what no one else could. One worn-out single dad with a smooth stone and a gentle smile broke through the walls that grief had built around her little girl's heart. This is the story of how we found our voices again. Stay until the end and comment what city you're watching from. I want to see how far our story travels. The call came during the board meeting. Jessica Reynolds felt her phone vibrate in her pocket once, twice, 3 times. The emergency pattern. Her throat tightened as she glanced at the screen under the conference table. Mrs. Chen. Their nanny never called during work hours unless something was wrong. "Excuse me." Jessica stood abruptly, cutting off the CFO mid-sentence. 12 sets of eyes turned toward her. "I need to take this." She was out the door before anyone could respond, her heels clicking sharp and fast against the marble floor of Reynolds Tech's executive suite. "Mrs. Chen, what happened?" "Nothing bad, Mrs. Reynolds." The nanny's voice was gentle, apologetic. "Lily is fine, physically fine, but she's been sitting under the oak tree for 2 hours now, and she won't move, won't eat, won't even look at the other children. I thought maybe if you came." Jessica closed her eyes, leaning against the wall. Through the glass doors behind her, she could see her team, waiting, the presentation frozen on the screen. The Parker acquisition, 6 months of negotiations, $40 million on the line. "I'm on my way." She texted her assistant, "Cancel everything. Emergency." Didn't wait for a response. Didn't go back for her briefcase or laptop. Just walked straight to the elevator, ignoring the concerned looks from her executive team as they filed out of the conference room. In the parking garage, she sat in her Tesla for a full minute, gripping the steering wheel, trying to remember how to breathe. 18 months. 18 months since Daniel died. 18 months since their 7-year-old daughter stopped speaking. The doctors had a term for it: selective mutism, triggered by trauma. They said it with such clinical detachment, like they were diagnosing a sprained ankle instead of a shattered childhood. Jessica had taken Lily to 5 specialists. 5. Each one had said the same thing in different words. Give it time, don't pressure her, let her heal at her own pace. But how much time, how much silence could one little girl hold inside before it became permanent? She started the car, pulled out into Boston traffic, and drove too fast toward Willowbrook Park. 23 minutes later, she'd made it in 19 if the lights had been kinder. Jessica found her daughter exactly where Mrs. Chen had said, under the big oak tree at the edge of the playground, sitting cross-legged in the grass, arms wrapped around the stuffed rabbit that never left her side. Mr. Hoppy. Daniel had won it for Lily at a street carnival 2 years ago, back when their biggest worry was whether Lily would share her cotton candy, back when the sound of Lily's laughter filled every room of their house. Now the house was so quiet Jessica could hear her own heartbeat echoing off the walls. "Mrs. Reynolds." Mrs. Chen stood quickly brushing grass off her jeans. The woman was in her 60s, kind-faced patient, in ways Jessica was running out of. "I'm sorry to call you away from work, but it's fine." Jessica's eyes never left Lily. "You did the right thing. Go ahead and take the rest of the day off. I've got her. Are you sure I can stay? We're okay." "Thank you, Mrs. Chen." The nanny hesitated, then gathered her bag. As she walked toward the parking lot, she paused. "Mrs. Reynolds, I know you're doing everything you can, everything. But sometimes I wonder if maybe we're trying so hard to fix her that we forget she's not broken, just hurt. There's a difference." The words landed like stones in Jessica's chest, but she managed a nod, watched Mrs. Chen disappear between the parked cars. Then she turned to her daughter. "Hey, baby girl." Jessica lowered herself to the grass, not caring that her cream Armani suit would be ruined. "Surprise visit from Mama." Lily looked up. Those hazel eyes, Daniel's eyes, met hers for just a moment, before sliding away. Her small fingers tightened around Mr. Hoppy's worn ears. Around them, Willowbrook Park hummed with life. Kids shrieking on the jungle gym, their voices bright and fearless. Parents calling out reminders about being careful, sharing, using kind words. A dog barking somewhere near the pond. The rhythmic squeak, squeak, squeak of the swing set chains. So much noise, so much life. And Lily silent in the middle of it all, like a photograph in a world that kept moving. Want to walk around? Jessica tried to keep her voice light. We could feed the ducks or try the slide. Remember how you used to make Daddy race you down the big one? You always won. At the mention of Daniel, something flickered across Lily's face. Pain, maybe, or memory. It was hard to tell anymore. Her daughter's expressions had become a language Jessica couldn't quite translate. Lily shook her head. Okay, that's okay, sweetheart. We can just sit here. Sometimes sitting is exactly the right thing to do. Jessica pulled out her phone, scrolled through work emails she couldn't focus on. The Parker acquisition meeting was probably still going. Sarah would be scrambling to explain her absence. The board would be wondering if their CEO was losing her grip. Let them wonder. She'd built Reynolds Tech from nothing. 23 years old, with a computer science degree and a dream working 100-hour weeks, proving to every investor who doubted her that a woman could run a tech company, could excel at it. By 34, she'd been on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, keynoting conferences, negotiating deals worth millions. None of it mattered when your child wouldn't speak to you. The afternoon sun slanted through the oak leaves, painting dappled patterns on the grass. Lily traced one of the light patches with her finger, following its shape as it shifted and changed. Lily, Jessica started, then stopped. What was she going to say? Please talk to me. Please let me back in. Please stop punishing me for the fact that Daddy died. But Lily wasn't punishing anyone. Jessica knew that. This wasn't manipulation or stubbornness. This was a 7-year-old brain that had shorted out under the weight of grief, too heavy for small shoulders to carry. A burst of laughter drew Jessica's attention to the swing set. A little girl was soaring high, too high, Jessica thought instinctively, her dark curls streaming behind her like ribbons. She was shouting something Jessica couldn't make out, pure joy in every syllable. Emma, not so high, sweetie. A man jogged toward the swings, and Jessica found herself studying him without meaning to. He wasn't like the other fathers here, no designer sneakers or Apple Watch or carefully curated athleisure. Just faded jeans with a hole in one knee, a blue t-shirt that had seen too many wash cycles, scuffed sneakers. His dark hair was slightly too long, curling at his collar. He looked tired, but his smile when he reached his daughter, that was pure sunshine. I'm flying, Daddy. The girl's voice carried across the playground. I'm a bird, a really, really fast bird. I can see that. He positioned himself behind the swing hands, ready. But even birds need to land sometimes. Let's bring it down just a bit, okay? Okay. The girl started dragging her feet, slowing the swing. But tomorrow, can I be a pterodactyl? Those flew really high. We'll see. Depends on weather conditions and air traffic control. The girl giggled, and the sound was so bright, so uncomplicated, that Jessica felt something crack inside her chest. Beside her, Lily had stopped tracing light patterns. She was watching the girl on the swing, her face unreadable. Do you want to go try the swings? Jessica asked softly. I could push you, or we could just walk over there, see what it feels like. Lily's grip on Mr. Hoppy tightened. She shook her head, but her eyes stayed on the swing set. The man, the father, had noticed them now. He gave Jessica a friendly nod, the kind of casual acknowledgement that happened between parents at playgrounds. Jessica managed a tight smile back then, looked away. She wasn't in the mood for small talk about weather or schools or how fast kids grow up. Daddy, can I go on the monkey bars? The girl had jumped off the swing with the fearlessness of someone who'd never learned to be afraid. Go for it, I'll be right here. The girl ran off, all endless energy and confidence, and the man settled onto one of the empty swings. He used his feet to rock gently, back and forth, watching his daughter with the relaxed attention of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. 5 minutes passed. The girl made friends with 2 other kids. They took turns on the monkey bars, chattering like they'd known each other for years instead of minutes. Jessica envied that. The easy way children connected before life taught them to be careful with their hearts. Beautiful afternoon for the park. She looked up. The man had moved closer, not invasively close, but near enough to talk without shouting. He'd left a respectful distance between them, she noticed, aware of boundaries. Yes, Jessica kept her tone polite but discouraging. The last thing she wanted was a stranger asking questions about why her daughter wasn't playing with the other kids. But he didn't ask. He just sat on the swing near Lily and smiled at her, not a pitying smile or a confused smile, just warm and genuine. "Hi there, I'm Michael. That tornado on the monkey bars is my daughter Emma." He gestured toward the dark-haired girl. "That's a really excellent rabbit you've got. Does he have a name?" Lily looked at him but said nothing. Jessica tensed, waiting for the awkward moment when Michael would realize something was wrong, when he'd ask what was the matter or suggest Lily was shy or strong silent type. Michael said easily, "I respect that. My rabbit when I was a kid, his name was Captain Fuzzington III. He didn't talk much either. Best listener I ever knew, though. Sometimes the quiet ones hear the most, you know." Jessica's head snapped up. There was no pity in Michael's voice, no confusion, just easy acceptance, like Lily's silence was as normal as the color of her hair. "We come here every Wednesday and Saturday," Michael continued, still addressing Lily. "Emma and I have this whole routine. First, we conquer the swings, that's what we call the flying portion. Then we tackle the jungle gym, that's the climbing expedition. And if we're really lucky, we hunt for treasure. Cool rocks, interesting leaves, that kind of thing. You're welcome to join us anytime. No pressure, just an open invitation." Something in Lily's posture shifted, not much, just a slight loosening of her shoulders. But Jessica noticed. She always noticed everything about Lily. "That's kind of you," Jessica heard herself say, her voice cooler than she intended. "But we're fine, thank you." Michael stood brushing grass off his jeans. "No problem at all. Just thought I'd offer." He started walking back toward the swings, then paused. "For what it's worth, and I know this is out of line coming from a complete stranger, she looks like she could use a friend. And Emma," he smiled, "that kid makes friends with everything. Rocks, clouds, that one pigeon that hangs out by the water fountain. She's an equal opportunity friend. You make a habit of giving parenting advice to people you just met." The words came out sharper than Jessica meant them to, "only when I recognize something." His voice was gentle, not defensive. "And what's that?" "Someone trying really hard to hold everything together who maybe could use a little help. I've been there, different circumstances, same weight." He held her gaze for a moment, and Jessica saw something there, understanding maybe, or shared experience. "Anyway, we'll be at the swings if you change your mind." He walked away, calling to Emma about staying where he could see her. Jessica sat there, anger and something else, something that felt uncomfortably like hope warring in her chest. How dare he? He didn't know anything about them, didn't know about the therapists who'd tried play therapy and art therapy and music therapy, didn't know about the night Jessica had held Lily after the funeral, promising her over and over that everything would be okay, while Lily's mouth opened and closed silently, like a fish drowning in air. He didn't know, but then she looked at Lily, and her daughter was still watching the swing set, still watching Michael push Emma, both of them laughing, existing in a world that seemed lighter somehow, easier. "Baby," Jessica's voice cracked. "Do you want to go over there? We don't have to talk to anyone. We could just be near them. Would that be okay?" For a long moment, Lily didn't move. Then slowly, carefully, she stood up, clutched Mr. Hoppy to her chest, and started walking toward the swings. Jessica scrambled to her feet, heart pounding. "Lily!" But her daughter didn't stop. She walked straight across the playground grass, giving way to wood chips, until she reached the swing set, reached Michael and Emma. and just stood there waiting. Michael saw her first. He stopped pushing Emma and crouched down, making himself small and unthreatening. "Hey, you decided to check out the flying after all. That's awesome." Emma jumped off the swing mid-arc landing with a practiced roll that made Jessica's heart leap into her throat, but the girl popped up unharmed, grinning. "Hi, I'm Emma. What's your name? Do you want to fly? Flying is the best thing ever. Well, except for ice cream and puppies, but it's really, really close to the best." Jessica reached them slightly breathless. "I'm sorry, she doesn't usually. We didn't mean to interrupt." "No interruption at all," Michael said, straightening up. "Every good flight crew needs more pilots. Right, Emma?" "Right." Emma grabbed Lily's free hand without hesitation. "You can have the blue swing. Blue is the best flying color because it matches the sky. I'm taking red today because I'm being a cardinal. That's a kind of bird. They're red and they make this really pretty sound like weet, weet, weet. Can you make bird sounds?" Lily didn't respond, but she didn't pull away either. Jessica moved to help Lily onto the swing, but Michael's voice stopped her. "Maybe let them figure it out." Every maternal instinct screamed against it. 18 months of hypervigilance, of smoothing every social interaction, of protecting Lily from questions and stares and the weight of other people's expectations. But something made her step back. Maybe exhaustion, maybe desperation, maybe just the fact that nothing else had worked, so why not try this? Emma helped Lily climb onto the swing, chattering the whole time. "Okay, so you hold here and you hold on really tight because we're going to go really high. Well, not super high at first. Daddy says you have to warm up before going super high. Do you need to warm up?" Lily's hands gripped the chains. She looked small on the swing, fragile in a way that made Jessica's chest ache, but she was there. She'd chosen to be there. "All right, pilots." Michael positioned himself between the two swings. "Ready for takeoff." "Ready!" Emma shouted. Lily said nothing, but she held on. Michael started pushing slow and gentle. "Now see, when you're flying, you have to start easy. You have to feel the wind, get to know it. The wind is your friend when you're flying. You have to respect it. The wind says, whoosh," Emma informed Lily seriously. "That's how you know it's working." Jessica stood off to the side, arms wrapped around herself, watching her daughter swing. Lily's face was careful, controlled, but she wasn't fighting it. She was letting herself move through the air. "You know what the secret to really great flying is?" Michael asked, his voice easy and conversational. "Sound. Birds make noise when they fly right. They chirp and call to each other. The wind makes noise. Even clouds make noise if you listen really carefully. They go, whoosh." Emma demonstrated, leaning back as Michael pushed her higher. "Like that, whoosh." "Exactly," Michael said. "That's the sound of flying through clouds. The sound of adventure. What do you think, Lily? Think you could make the cloud sound?" Jessica's breath caught. "No, please don't push her. Please don't ruin this." But Lily didn't tense, didn't shut down. She just kept swinging silent, her hair streaming behind her in the breeze. "That's okay," Michael said gently. "Some of the best pilots fly quiet. They're too busy concentrating on where they're going to make noise. That's a totally valid way to fly." "I'm a loud pilot," Emma announced proudly. "Whoosh! I'm flying through a purple cloud, now a green one, now one that's shaped like a dragon." Despite everything, Jessica felt the corner of her mouth twitch. Emma's enthusiasm was infectious, filling the afternoon with the kind of joy that had been missing from their lives. Michael kept pushing, kept talking, weaving stories about cloud kingdoms and bird highways and the best altitude for seeing your house from the sky. He never pressured Lily to respond, never made her silence feel like a problem that needed fixing. He just included her like she was already part of the game. "Okay, both of you look up." Michael pointed at the sky. "See that big fluffy cloud right there? That's a wishing cloud. But here's the thing about wishing clouds, they only grant wishes to people who make some kind of sound when they pass through them. Any sound at all, loud or quiet, whisper or shout. The cloud doesn't judge. It just wants to know, Emma, you're trying. I wish for a puppy, Emma shouted immediately, and a trampoline, and remember what we talked about, inside wishes and outside wishes. Oh, right, sorry, Daddy. Emma lowered her voice to what she probably thought was a whisper, but really wasn't. I wish for Lily to be my friend forever. Jessica's vision blurred. She pressed her fist against her mouth, trying to hold it together. Michael reached into his pocket and pulled out a stone, smooth and gray, worn soft by water and time. Lily, this is a special cloud stone. I found it by the river last week. The thing about cloud stones is they help you make sounds when you're ready. Not before, that's important, only when you're ready. But when you are, you hold this and it makes everything easier. Want to try? He held it out. Jessica wanted to stop him, wanted to explain that they'd tried everything, that pressure made it worse, that this kind man with his smooth stone was going to break her daughter's heart all over again. But Lily reached out, took the stone, closed her small fist around it. Michael kept pushing, kept the rhythm steady. No rush at all. Could be today, could be next week, could be next year. The wishing cloud will wait. Clouds are patient like that. They swung together, Emma loud and joyful, Lily silent but present, and Jessica just watched, hope and fear tangled so tightly in her chest she couldn't tell them apart. Minutes passed. 5, maybe 10. Emma's running commentary never stopped, a constant stream of imagination and delight. Michael responded patiently, adding details to the fantasy world Emma was building in the air, and Lily just swung, holding the stone, silent. Jessica felt the familiar disappointment starting to creep in, the same crushing letdown that followed every failed therapy session, every specialist who couldn't help, every moment of maybe that led to nothing. But then, so quiet, Jessica almost missed it. Just a breath, really. A whisper of sound. Whoosh. Time stopped. Jessica's heart stopped. Everything stopped, because Lily had just made a sound, a word. Her mouth had opened and sound had come out, and perfect, Michael said calmly, like miracles happened every day at this playground. That's exactly right. That's the sound of flying. You're doing great. Want to go a little higher? Lily's fingers tightened around the stone. Her lips moved again. Whoosh! Louder this time, stronger. You're doing it! Emma shrieked. You're making the cloud sound. Now we can both be pilots together. Whoosh! Lily said it again and again, testing the word, feeling it in her mouth. Whoosh! Whoosh! Jessica couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but stand there with tears streaming down her face, listening to her daughter's voice, that beautiful, impossible, precious voice she'd thought was gone forever. Whoosh! Emma called. Whoosh! Lily echoed, and this time there was something in her voice that hadn't been there in 18 months. Joy. Pure, uncomplicated 7-year-old joy. They swung together, making their cloud sounds, and Michael kept pushing, his face calm, but his eyes shining with understanding. After a few more minutes, he gradually slowed the swings. All right, pilots. Time to bring it in for a landing, nice and easy. The girls dragged their feet, bringing the swings to a stop. Emma hopped off immediately, but Lily sat there for a moment longer, looking at the stone in her hand. Then she looked up past Michael, past Emma, straight at Jessica, and her mouth opened. Mama. The world shattered. Jessica's knees hit the wood chips, and she didn't feel it. Didn't feel anything except her arms around her daughter Lily's small body pressed against hers, both of them holding on like letting go meant drowning. I'm here, baby, I'm right here. Jessica was sobbing, laughing, breaking apart, and coming back together all at once. I hear you, sweetheart, you sound so beautiful. Mama. Lily said it again, the word muffled, against Jessica's shoulder. Mama, I flew through clouds. You did. You flew so high. Jessica pulled back just enough to see Lily's face, to touch her cheeks, to make sure this was real. You were so brave, baby, so brave. Lily was smiling, actually smiling, her whole face lit up in a way Jessica hadn't seen since before the accident. Can I fly again tomorrow? Yes, baby, every day, whenever you want. Michael had stepped back with Emma, giving them space. When Jessica finally looked up at him, she saw understanding in his eyes, the kind that only comes from knowing what it means to watch impossible things become real. Thank you. Jessica's voice broke on the words. I don't know how I can't even thank you. She did all the hard work, Michael said simply. Sometimes kids just need someone to make them feel safe enough to try. Can Lily come back tomorrow? Emma asked, tugging on her father's hand. Can we fly again? That's up to Lily and her mom. Jessica looked at her daughter, at the tiny smile still on her face, at the way she clutched that smooth gray stone like it held all the magic in the world. Would you like that, Lily, come back tomorrow and fly again with Emma? Lily nodded, and then in a voice still soft but growing stronger, with each word she said, Yes, please, Mama. 3 words, 3 perfect, miraculous, impossible words. Jessica pulled her daughter close again, breathing her in strawberry shampoo and sunshine and hope. Over Lily's shoulder she met Michael's eyes and saw her own wonder reflected back at her. Tomorrow, Jessica said. Same time, we'll be here. As they walked back to the car later, Lily held Jessica's hand, something she hadn't done in months, and the stone in her other pocket. Every few steps, she whispered, whoosh, to herself, like she was making sure the word was still there. Jessica's phone was full of missed calls, dozens of emails about the Parker acquisition, about the meeting she'd walked out on, about decisions that needed to be made. She turned it off. Her daughter had spoken. Tomorrow she'd speak again, and maybe the day after that, and maybe somehow they'd find their way back to each other, one small sound at a time. Jessica woke up at 5:30 the next morning to the sound of small footsteps in the hallway. She sat up, heart pounding, and found Lily standing in her bedroom doorway. In the gray pre-dawn light, her daughter looked impossibly small in her rainbow pajamas, Mr. Hoppy dangling from one hand, the smooth gray stone clutched in the other. Lily, baby, what's wrong? Lily's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Jessica held her breath, waiting, hoping, terrified that yesterday had been some kind of fever dream and the silence had returned. Is it time to go fly yet? The words came out soft and uncertain, like Lily was testing whether her voice still worked. But they were there, real, solid. Jessica felt tears spring to her eyes, but she blinked them back. Not yet, sweetheart, it's still really early. Michael and Emma won't be at the park until this afternoon. Oh, Lily's face fell. She stood there for a moment, shifting from foot to foot, then quieter. Can I sleep here with you? Of course. Come here, baby. Lily climbed into the bed, burrowing into Jessica's side the way she used to before everything fell apart. Jessica wrapped her arms around her daughter, breathing in the scent of her hair, feeling the solid warmth of her small body. Mama. Yes, sweetheart. What if my voice goes away again? Jessica's throat tightened. She'd been wondering the same thing all night, lying awake, afraid to hope too hard. Then we'll wait for it to come back. And it will come back, Lily. I promise. How do you know? Because you're the bravest person I know, and brave people always find their way back. Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then Daddy was brave. It was the first time Lily had mentioned Daniel since the funeral. Jessica had to press her lips together to keep from sobbing out loud. He was so brave, and he loved you so much. I miss him. I know, baby, I miss him too, every single day. Does missing someone ever stop hurting? Jessica thought about lying, about giving her daughter easy comfort, but Lily deserved the truth. No, but it hurts differently as time goes on. The sharp parts get softer, and you learn to remember the good things without the sad parts taking over. That's what Daddy would want, for us to remember him and smile. Lily snuggled closer, Emma's nice. She is. And her daddy's nice too. Yes, he is. Do you think Daddy would be okay with me having new friends? Jessica's heart cracked open. Oh, sweetheart. Daddy would be so happy, so happy. He'd want you to have all the friends in the world. He'd want you to laugh and play and be a kid. That's all he ever wanted for you. Okay. Lily yawned, her body relaxing. Can we have pancakes for breakfast, the ones Daddy used to make with the chocolate chips? Absolutely. We can have anything you want. They lay there as dawn broke outside the windows, painting the room in shades of pink and gold. Lily's breathing gradually deepened into sleep, but Jessica stayed awake, holding her daughter, feeling the rise and fall of her small chest, listening to the sound of her breathing like it was the most beautiful music in the world. At 9 o'clock, Jessica's phone rang. She'd left it on silent, but she could see Sarah's name flashing on the screen, her assistant, probably calling about the chaos from yesterday's aborted meeting. Jessica declined the call, then turned the phone off entirely. They made pancakes together, Lily standing on a stool at the counter helping pour chocolate chips into the batter. She didn't talk much, but she hummed, soft, tuneless humming that might have been unconscious. Jessica's hands shook as she flipped the pancakes, overwhelmed by the normalcy of it. This simple, ordinary morning that felt like a miracle. Mama, yes, baby. What if Emma doesn't come today? What if she forgot? She'll be there, I promise. How do you know? Jessica thought about Michael's steady presence, the way he'd handled Lily's silence like it was the most natural thing in the world. Because her daddy said they would be. And I think he's the kind of person who keeps his promises. They arrived at Willowbrook Park at 2 o'clock. Lily insisted on leaving early just in case. Jessica parked the car and they walked hand in hand toward the playground, Lily clutching Mr. Hoppy in her free hand, the stone in her pocket. The park was more crowded than yesterday. A birthday party occupied the pavilion, balloons tied to the tables, kids running everywhere with frosting smeared faces. The playground was packed with children climbing, swinging, shouting. Jessica scanned the crowd looking for Michael and Emma, her stomach twisted with unexpected anxiety. What if they didn't come? What if yesterday had been a one-time kindness and they'd moved on? There! Lily pointed, her voice bright with excitement. There's Emma! Relief flooded through Jessica. Michael and Emma were at the swings, the same swings as yesterday. Emma was already soaring high, her dark curls flying, while Michael stood behind her, pushing with practiced ease. Lily tugged on Jessica's hand, pulling her forward. They crossed the playground, Lily walking faster with each step until they reached the swing set. Michael saw them first. His face broke into a genuine smile. You made it. We were hoping you'd come back. Lily! Emma dragged her feet to stop the swing, nearly toppling off in her excitement. You came back. I told Daddy you would. I told him, can we fly again? Can we go even higher this time? Lily nodded, and the smile on her face made Jessica's chest ache. Yes, please. Yes, please, Emma cheered. Did you hear Daddy? She said yes, please. That's 2 whole words. I heard. Michael's eyes met Jessica's over the girls' heads, and something passed between them. Understanding, shared joy. That's pretty amazing. Think we can get to 3 words today? Maybe, Lily said softly. Then after a pause, I'm going to try. 4 words. Jessica bit her lip hard. Michael crouched down to Lily's eye level. Hey, you know what? However many words you want to say, that's perfect. No pressure, no counting. You're the boss of your voice, okay? Nobody else. Lily nodded seriously. Then she pulled the stone from her pocket. I brought it. The magic stone. The cloud stone, good thinking. That'll definitely help with flying. Michael stood and gestured to the empty swing next to Emma's. All right, pilots, ready for another mission. The girls climbed onto the swings, Emma still chattering about everything she'd done since yesterday. Lily mostly listening, but occasionally responding with soft, one-word answers. Michael positioned himself between them and started pushing. Jessica stood off to the side, same place as yesterday, but this time she felt different, lighter somehow, like she could breathe properly for the first time in 18 months. Higher, Daddy, higher. Use your legs, Em. Remember, you're strong enough to do most of it yourself now, but it's more fun when you help. Fair point. Okay, a little higher, but then you're on your own. Jessica watched them, struck by how natural it all seemed. Michael's easy confidence with his daughter, Emma's fearless enthusiasm, the way they moved around each other like a well-practiced dance. So, Michael called over to Jessica, still pushing the swings. I realized yesterday we never properly introduced ourselves. I'm Michael Carter, that's Emma. And you're Jessica and Lily, but I don't know anything else about you beyond the fact that you make excellent park companions. Jessica hesitated. She'd gotten used to being private about their situation, tired of the pitying looks and careful questions, but something about Michael made her want to be honest. Jessica Reynolds, we live about 10 minutes from here. This is Lily's first time really playing at a park in a while. Well, she picked a good park. This is our favorite spot in the whole city. Michael's tone was casual, not pushing for more information. We've been coming here for about 6 months now. Haven't found a better swing set anywhere. Why's that? Perfect squeaking. See, swings need to squeak just the right amount. Too quiet and they're boring. Too loud and they're annoying. These are exactly right. Despite everything, Jessica laughed. Actually laughed. I never considered swing squeak quality before. It's a crucial factor in playground selection. Emma has very specific standards. I can tell. They fell into an easy rhythm, Michael pushing the girls, occasionally commenting on their flying techniques, while Jessica watched, feeling some of the tension she'd been carrying for months, slowly unspooling from her shoulders. After about 15 minutes, Emma announced she needed to use the bathroom. Michael brought both swings to a stop. All right, quick bathroom break. Lily, you want to come with us, or you want to stay here with your mom? Lily looked at Jessica, uncertain. I can stay. Okay, we'll be right back. 5 minutes tops. As Michael and Emma headed toward the park restrooms, Jessica sat down on one of the swings. Lily stayed on hers, using her feet to sway gently back and forth. You having fun, baby? Yeah. Lily was quiet for a moment, then, Emma talks a lot. Jessica smiled. She does. I like it, though. It's nice. I don't have to think of what to say. She just talks. Does it make you want to talk more, or does it feel like too much? Lily considered this seriously. Both. Sometimes I want to tell her things, but the words get stuck. Like they're there in my head, but I can't get them out. But then she just keeps talking, and it's okay that I'm stuck. It was the most Lily had said at one time since the accident. Jessica's eyes stung, but she kept her voice steady. The words will come, sweetheart. There's no rush. Do you think Michael knows about Daddy? The question caught Jessica off guard. I don't know. Probably not. Why? Because he doesn't look at me like other people do. Like something's wrong with me. He just looks at me regular. Jessica's throat tightened. Nothing is wrong with you, Lily. Nothing. You're perfect exactly as you are. Then why did everyone keep trying to fix me? The question landed like a punch, because she was right. All those therapists, all those appointments, all that trying. Jessica had been so desperate to get her daughter back that she'd never stopped to ask if Lily felt broken. Because I was scared, Jessica said honestly. I missed your voice so much, and I didn't know how to help you. But I should have listened better. I should have asked what you needed instead of assuming I knew. I'm sorry, baby. Lily swung back and forth, thinking, It's okay, Mama. I know you were trying to help. I couldn't talk. It felt like if I opened my mouth, all the sad would come out, and I'd never be able to stop it. Oh, Lily. Jessica moved from her swing to kneel in front of her daughter. The sad has to come out sometimes. That's how we heal. We can't keep it all locked up inside. But what if it's too much? What if I cry and never stop? Then I'll hold you while you cry. And when you're done crying, I'll still be there. I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart. Not ever. Lily leaned forward, resting her forehead against Jessica's. I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby, so much. They stayed like that until Michael and Emma returned. Emma skipping ahead, announcing that she'd seen a really cool beetle near the bathroom, and did Lily want to go look for more beetles? We could make a beetle collection, Emma said excitedly. Daddy says I can't keep them because they need to live outside, but we could draw pictures of them. Do you like drawing? I used to, Lily said softly. I haven't drawn in a while. We have extra paper at home and crayons. So many crayons. Daddy, can Lily come over sometime and we can draw beetles? Michael glanced at Jessica, a silent question in his eyes. Jessica felt her pulse quicken. This was moving fast. They'd only met yesterday. She didn't know these people, didn't know if it was safe to let Lily get attached when... But then she looked at Lily's face, saw the hope there, and made a decision. Maybe next week, Jessica offered. If that works for you, works for us, Michael said easily. We're pretty flexible. I work evenings most days, so afternoons are usually free. What do you do? Jessica asked, then immediately felt awkward. Sorry, that's probably too personal. No, it's fine. I'm a music therapist. I work with kids, mostly helping them process emotions and trauma through sound and rhythm. Everything suddenly made sense. The way he'd approached Lily, the stone, the flying game, the emphasis on sound without pressure. That's amazing, Jessica said, her voice thick. You help kids like Lily. Sometimes. Every kid's different, though. Different traumas, different needs. But yeah, I've worked with selective mutism before, among other things. Is that why you... Jessica trailed off, not sure how to finish the question. Why I approached you at the park. Michael's smile was gentle. Partly, but mostly because Emma makes friends with everyone, and I've learned to just go with it. The therapy background just meant I knew not to make a big deal out of the silence. Well, whatever you did, it worked. In 5 minutes, you got further than 6 months of specialist managed. I got lucky. Lily was ready. Sometimes all kids need is the right moment and the right permission to try. They spent another hour at the park. The girls played on the jungle gym, Emma leading expeditions, and Lily following, occasionally contributing a word or two to Emma's elaborate games. Michael and Jessica sat on a nearby bench, talking in the easy way of parents watching their children play. Jessica learned that Michael was a widower. His wife Sarah had died in childbirth complications that should have been preventable but weren't. Emma had never known her mother, and Michael had raised her alone for 7 years. I'm sorry, Jessica said quietly. That must have been incredibly hard. It was. Still is some days. But we figured it out. Emma and me, we're a team. She's wonderful, so full of life. She is. I think part of it is she never learned to be afraid. Sarah's death was traumatic for me, but Emma doesn't remember it, so she just exists, fully, without holding back. Sometimes I envy that. Lily used to be like that, Jessica heard herself say. Before, she was fearless, loud, always singing, always laughing. And then my husband died, and it was like someone flipped a switch. All that light just went out. How long ago? 18 months. Car accident. He was on his way home from work. A truck ran a red light. He died instantly. I'm so sorry, Jessica. They sat in silence for a moment, watching their daughters. Emma was showing Lily how to hang upside down from the monkey bars, her face red with the effort of holding herself up. Can I ask you something? Jessica said finally. The stone. Did you really find it by the river, or was that part of the game? Michael smiled. I really found it by the river, about 3 years ago. I keep it in my pocket for moments like yesterday. Sometimes kids need something tangible to hold on to, something that feels magical even though the real magic is inside them. It's a beautiful metaphor. Lily can keep it if she wants. I've got a whole collection at home. River stones are good for that smooth, easy to hold, each one unique. Jessica felt something shift in her chest. You're a very kind person, Michael Carter. I just know what it's like to watch someone you love struggling and not know how to help. With Sarah, I couldn't do anything. She died and I was helpless. But with Emma, with other kids, I can try. Doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. And those times make everything worth it. They watched Lily attempt the monkey bars. Her movements careful but determined. She made it 3 bars before dropping, landing on her feet. Good try, Lily, Emma cheered. You almost made it. Want to try again? Lily nodded and Jessica's heart swelled. Her daughter was trying, actually trying, engaging with the world in a way she hadn't in 18 months. The sun was starting to sink lower when Emma finally showed signs of slowing down. She'd moved from the jungle gym to the slide and back to the swings, Lily following her every step, both of them breathless and grass-stained. Daddy, I'm hungry, Emma announced, sliding down to sit in the wood chips. Can we get ice cream? We can get dinner, Michael corrected. Real dinner then, maybe ice cream. But ice cream is real dinner. Nice try. Emma turned to Lily. Do you want to get ice cream with us? We always go to Scoops after the park on Saturdays. They have a million flavors. Lily looked at Jessica, hopeful and uncertain. Can we, Mama? Jessica's automatic response was to say no. They'd imposed enough on Michael's kindness. They should go home, let him and Emma have this evening, not intrude further on their lives. But then she looked at Lily's face, really looked, and saw something she hadn't seen in so long. Excitement, anticipation, hope. If Michael doesn't mind, Jessica said carefully, we don't want to intrude on your Saturday routine. You're not intruding, Michael said easily. Emma clearly has opinions about this, and I've learned that fighting Emma's opinions about ice cream is a losing battle. Plus, Scoops has excellent waffle cones. I'm not just saying that, they're legitimately the best in the city. Please, Mama. Lily's voice was soft but clear. Please, can we go? Okay, yes, ice cream sounds perfect. Emma whooped and jumped up immediately, grabbing Lily's hand. Come on, we have to walk there because it's only 3 blocks, and Daddy says walking is good exercise, even though I think it's just because he doesn't want to find parking. Accurate, Michael confirmed, standing and stretching. Walking it is. They left the park together, the 4 of them falling into a natural formation, Emma and Lily ahead, chattering and giggling, Michael and Jessica behind, keeping watch. Thank you, Jessica said quietly. For today, for yesterday, for all of it. You don't have to keep thanking me. I do, though. You gave me my daughter back. That's not something I can just brush past. You never lost her, Jessica. She was always there, just needed time to find her way back to the surface. They walked in comfortable silence for a bit, the late afternoon sun warm on their faces. Ahead of them, Emma was showing Lily some complicated hand-clapping game, both of them laughing when they messed up the rhythm. Scoops was exactly the kind of old-fashioned ice cream parlor Jessica remembered from her own childhood, black and white checkered floors, red vinyl booths, a long counter with a gleaming ice cream case displaying what did indeed appear to be a million flavors. Okay, strategy session, Michael said as they entered. Emma always takes approximately 17 years to decide on a flavor, tries to negotiate for 3 scoops, and somehow always ends up with chocolate chip cookie dough anyway. What's your approach, Lily? Lily studied the case seriously. Strawberry, she said after a moment. I always get strawberry. A woman who knows what she wants. I respect that. Jessica, probably vanilla. I'm boring. Vanilla is not boring. Vanilla is a classic. There's a difference. They got their ice cream. Emma did indeed get chocolate chip cookie dough after a lengthy deliberation. Lily got her strawberry. Michael got some combination with caramel that looked like it could cause a sugar coma. And Jessica got her vanilla and settled into one of the booths. The girls sat on one side, heads bent together, Emma explaining the optimal ice cream eating strategies, while Lily listened with what looked like genuine fascination. Michael and Jessica sat across from them, and for just a moment they looked like a regular family out for Saturday ice cream. The thought should have scared Jessica. should have felt like a betrayal of Daniel's memory, but instead it just felt nice, normal, like maybe possibly life could be good again someday. Mama, Lily looked up from her ice cream. Can I tell you something? Of course, baby, anything. Today was a really good day. Jessica's vision blurred. Yeah, sweetheart, it really was. I think maybe tomorrow could be a good day, too. I think you might be right. Lily smiled, a real full smile that crinkled her eyes and went back to her ice cream. Under the table, Jessica felt her phone vibrate. Probably work, probably important, probably something that yesterday she would have jumped to answer. She ignored it because her daughter was smiling and eating ice cream and talking, and Michael was making terrible puns that had both girls groaning, and the evening sun was streaming through the windows, painting everything gold. And for the first time in 18 months, Jessica let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, they were going to be okay. The phone call started Monday morning. Jessica was making breakfast when her cell rang. Sarah, her assistant, then the CFO, then 3 board members in rapid succession. She sent them all to voicemail, focusing instead on the sound of Lily humming in the next room. That beautiful, ordinary sound that meant more than any acquisition deal ever could. By noon, they showed up at her house. The doorbell rang just as Jessica was helping Lily with a puzzle at the kitchen table. Through the window, she could see Richard Chen, the board chairman, standing on her porch in his signature gray suit. "Stay here, baby," Jessica said, squeezing Lily's shoulder. "I'll be right back." She opened the door but didn't invite him in. "Richard." "Jessica." His face was carefully neutral. "We need to talk." "I'm taking personal time." "You've been taking personal time for 3 days. You walked out of the Parker meeting. You've missed 14 calls. The board is concerned." Jessica felt her jaw tighten. "My daughter needed me." "Your daughter always needs you, Jessica. But you also have responsibilities to this company, to our investors, to the 500 people whose jobs depend on you making clear-headed decisions." "I am making clear-headed decisions. The clearest I've made in 18 months. Richard's expression softened slightly. "Look, I understand you're going through something difficult. We all do. But you can't just disappear, not when we're in the middle of the biggest acquisition in company history." "The acquisition can wait?" "No, it can't. Parker's team is threatening to walk if we don't have answers by Friday. That's 4 days, Jessica. 4 days to save a $40 million deal. We need you in that office." Through the open door, Jessica could hear Lily singing softly to herself. A tuneless melody that was the most beautiful thing Jessica had ever heard. "I'll handle it," Jessica said firmly. "From home, I can video conference for any meetings that absolutely require my input. But I'm not leaving Lily right now, not when we're finally making progress." "Progress, Jessica? She's 7 years old. She doesn't need you hovering 24/7. That's what nannies are for." The words hit like a slap. "You don't know what you're talking about. I know you're letting your personal life compromise your professional judgment. And I know that if this continues, the board will have to take action." "Is that a threat?" "It's reality. We're sympathetic, Jessica. We really are. But sympathy only goes so far when millions of dollars are on the line." Jessica looked at him, this man she'd worked with for 6 years, who'd mentored her through her first major deal, who'd sent flowers when Daniel died, and she realized something fundamental had shifted. She wasn't the same person who'd built Reynolds Tech through 100-hour weeks and sacrificed everything for success. "Then the board will do what they have to do," Jessica said quietly, "and so will I." She closed the door before he could respond. Her hands were shaking as she walked back to the kitchen. Lily looked up from her puzzle concern in those hazel eyes. "Who was that, Mama?" "Just someone from work, baby. Nothing to worry about." But Lily was perceptive. Always had been. "Are you in trouble?" Jessica sat down and pulled Lily onto her lap, breathing in the strawberry scent of her hair. "You know what? Even if I am, it doesn't matter, because you're more important than any job could ever be. But you love your job. I love you more, so much more." Lily was quiet for a moment, then, "Is it my fault that you might be in trouble?" "No, sweetheart. God, no. None of this is your fault. You didn't ask for any of this to happen, and I'm the one who gets to choose what matters most. I'm choosing you. I'll always choose you. Lily hugged her tight, and Jessica closed her eyes, trying not to think about what losing her company might mean. The company she'd built from nothing, her identity, her proof that she was more than just Daniel Reynolds' wife. But what was the point of success if she lost her daughter in the process? The phone rang again. This time it was Michael. "Hey." His voice was warm through the speaker. "Bad time. No, actually, perfect time." Jessica realized she was smiling despite everything. "What's up?" "Emma wants to know if Lily can come over Wednesday. We're making homemade pizzas, and apparently that's infinitely more fun with friends. No pressure if you're busy, but the invitation's there." Jessica looked at Lily, who'd perked up at hearing Emma's name. "What do you think Lily want to make pizzas with Emma on Wednesday?" "Yes." Lily's face lit up. "Can we, Mama, please?" "Sounds like we have a yes," Jessica told Michael. "What time?" 4 o'clock. "I have a session that ends at 3:30, so that gives me time to get home and pretend my kitchen isn't a disaster zone." 4 works. "Can I bring anything?" "Just yourselves." Though fair warning, Emma's pizza creations tend toward the experimental. Last week she made one with peanut butter and pickles. That sounds horrifying. It was. But she was so proud of it I had to eat 3 slices. The things we do for our kids, right? Jessica laughed, and it felt good. Natural. Right. After they hung up, Lily looked at her seriously. "Mama, do you like Michael?" The question caught Jessica off guard. "He seems very nice. He's been very kind to us. But do you like him like how you liked Daddy?" Jessica's breath caught. Nobody could be like Daddy, sweetheart. Daddy was special, unique. "I know, but you smile different when you talk to Michael. Like maybe not the same as Daddy, but still a good smile, a happy smile." When had her 7-year-old become so observant? "Would that be okay with you if I smiled when I talked to Michael?" Lily considered this carefully. I think Daddy would want you to smile. He always wanted you to be happy. He used to say that a lot, remember? Whatever makes you happy, Jess." That's what he said. Jessica pulled Lily close, tears streaming down her face. "When did you get so wise?" "I'm not wise, I'm just 7. But I know things. I know Daddy's not coming back. And I know you're sad a lot. And I know Michael makes you less sad. So maybe that's okay. You're allowed to be sad too, baby. You know that, right? You don't have to be okay all the time." "I know, I am sad, a lot. But Emma makes me less sad too. So maybe we both found someone who makes the sad smaller." The simple wisdom of it broke Jessica's heart and healed it at the same time. Wednesday afternoon, they drove to Michael's house. He lived in a neighborhood not unlike their own tree-lined streets. Older homes with character, the kind of place where kids rode bikes and neighbors knew each other's names. His house was a small blue bungalow with a porch that sagged slightly and a garden that looked lovingly chaotic. Wind chimes hung by the door, creating soft music in the breeze. Emma flung the door open before they could knock. "You're here. We're making pizzas." Daddy got all the toppings. Even pineapple, even though he says pineapple on pizza is wrong. "Pineapple on pizza is controversial," Michael corrected, appearing behind Emma. "Welcome. Come in. Excuse the chaos." The house was lived in and comfortable. Photos covered every surface. Emma at various ages. Michael and Emma together, a beautiful woman with Emma's dark curls, who Jessica realized must be Sarah. The late afternoon light streamed through windows that probably needed cleaning, and there was a light layer of dust on the bookshelves, but somehow it all felt like home. "Kitchen's this way." Michael led them through. "Fair warning, I may have overestimated our topping needs. Turns out you can buy a truly absurd amount of pepperoni." The kitchen counter was indeed covered with toppings. Pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, peppers, olives, pineapple, and about 6 different types of cheese. "This is amazing," Lily breathed, her eyes wide. Right, Emma bounced excitedly. We can make any kind we want. Daddy already made the dough. It's rising. We have to punch it down. Want to help me punch it? The girls disappeared to wash their hands, leaving Jessica and Michael alone in the kitchen. Your home is lovely, Jessica said. It's a mess, Michael corrected with a smile. But it's our mess. Coffee, please. He poured 2 cups from a pot that looked like it had been there a while. The coffee was strong and slightly burnt, and Jessica loved it. So, Michael said, leaning against the counter, how are you really? And I mean really, not the polite answer. Jessica was surprised by her own honesty. Honestly terrified, hopeful, grateful, overwhelmed, sometimes all at once. That sounds about right for parenting a kid through trauma. My board thinks I'm losing my mind. They might not be wrong. What do you think? I think for the first time in 18 months, I'm making the right choices, even if they're not the easy ones. Michael nodded slowly. For what it's worth, from the outside looking in, Lily seems like a completely different kid than the one I met last week. And you seem lighter, less like you're carrying the weight of the world alone. I didn't realize how heavy it was until I started putting some of it down. They were interrupted by the girls returning ready to assault the pizza dough. Michael showed them how to punch it down, and both Emma and Lily took to the task, with enthusiasm, giggling as the dough collapsed under their small fists. Now we divide it into 4 pieces, Michael explained. 1 pizza for each of us. And here's the rule, you can make your pizza however you want. No judgment. My only requirement is that you have to try at least 1 bite of everyone else's creation. Even if Lily makes peanut butter pickle pizza, Emma asked hopefully. I'm not making that, Lily said quickly, wrinkling her nose. That sounds gross. It wasn't my best work, Emma admitted. Daddy made a brave face, but I could tell. They spent the next hour creating pizzas. Emma's was indeed experimental, a combination of every meat available, plus pineapple and what looked like an entire container of olives. Lily's was simple and careful, just cheese and pepperoni, arranged in a perfect spiral. Michael made something with sausage and peppers that looked actually edible. Jessica went with margarita style because at least one person should make something normal. While the pizzas baked, filling the house with the smell of bread and cheese and garlic, the girls played in Emma's room. Jessica could hear their laughter drifting down the stairs, and it was the best sound in the world. Can I ask you something? Jessica said, watching Michael clean up the flour-covered counter. That first day at the park, why did you approach us, really? Michael was quiet for a moment. You want the honest answer? Always. Because I saw myself, or rather, the version of myself from 6 years ago. Standing on the outside of everything, watching other people live their lives while I was just trying to survive mine. And I saw Lily, and I saw this little girl who was clearly drowning, but nobody knew how to throw her a lifeline. He paused. And maybe I was arrogant enough to think I could help, that my training, my experience, that it meant something beyond just credentials. You did help. You saved her. No, I gave her permission to save herself. There's a difference. They moved to the living room, settling onto the couch while the pizzas finished cooking. Through the window, Jessica could see the sun starting to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Tell me about Sarah, Jessica said softly. Michael's face shifted, sadness and love mixing together. She was incredible, smart, funny kind. She wanted to be a mother more than anything. We tried for 3 years before Emma, and then during the delivery, everything went wrong. They saved Emma, but Sarah, she hemorrhaged. By the time they realized how bad it was too late. I'm so sorry. I was angry for a long time. At the doctors, at the hospital, at God, at Sarah, for leaving me alone with this tiny human I had no idea how to care for. But Emma needed me, so I figured it out, day by day, and somewhere along the way the anger turned into acceptance, and then into gratitude for the time we did have. Does it get easier the missing them? No, but you get stronger at carrying it. The weight doesn't change, but your capacity for bearing it grows. He looked at her directly. You're doing that now, getting stronger, I can see it. Some days I feel like I'm barely holding on. That's most of parenthood anyway. None of us know what we're doing. We're all just pretending and hoping our kids don't figure out we're making it up as we go. Jessica laughed, despite herself. That's actually comforting. The timer dinged. They pulled the pizzas out. Emma's looked like a disaster. Lily's looked perfect, and both adult pizzas looked surprisingly decent. Girls' pizzas ready. Thundering footsteps on the stairs, and then Emma and Lily appeared, faces flushed from playing. They ate at the kitchen table, and everyone dutifully tried a bite of everyone else's pizza. Emma's was as terrible as expected. Lily's was delicious, and Michael's turned out to be the surprise winner. Okay, I have an announcement, Emma said, standing up on her chair, despite Michael's gentle reprimand to sit down. I've decided that Lily is my best friend, like official best friend, and that means we should have sleepovers. So can Lily sleep over this Friday? Please, Daddy, please, Jessica. We'll go to bed on time and brush our teeth and everything. Jessica and Michael exchanged glances. That's a pretty big step, Jessica said carefully. Lily's never done a sleepover before, and because she needs to practice. Emma's logic was unassailable. And what better place to practice than here? We have extra sleeping bags and everything. Jessica looked at Lily, expecting hesitation, but her daughter's eyes were bright with excitement. Can I, Mama? Please, I think I want to try. Jessica's heart clenched. A week ago, Lily wouldn't speak. Now she was asking for sleepovers. What do you think? Jessica asked Michael quietly. I think Emma's right, and I think Lily's ready to try new things, but only if you're comfortable with it. Jessica looked at her daughter, really looked at her, at the animation in her face, the hope in her eyes, the way she was leaning forward in anticipation. Okay, Jessica heard herself say, Friday night, but Lily, if you get scared or want to come home, you call me and I'll come get you, no matter what time. Deal, deal. Lily bounced in her seat and Emma cheered. This is going to be so fun. Emma was already planning. We can make popcorn and watch movies and tell stories and stay up really late. Not too late, Michael interjected. Some of us still need sleep. After dinner, after the girls had eaten ice cream and played 2 more rounds of some game involving elaborate rules only they understood, Jessica said they should head home. Lily hugged Emma goodbye like they were being separated for months instead of 2 days. At the door, Michael handed Jessica a piece of paper with his cell number, in case you need anything, or if you have questions, or if you just want to talk. Thank you, Jessica said, and meant it for so much more than just the phone number. For everything, for tonight, for last week, for being exactly what we needed when we didn't even know we needed it. Same to you, Michael said softly. You and Lily, you've brought something back into our lives too, something I didn't realize we were missing. Their eyes met and held for a moment too long, and Jessica felt something flutter in her chest. Something she hadn't felt in so long she'd almost forgotten what it was. Hope, possibility, connection. She looked away, first calling for Lily. They said their final goodbyes and walked to the car. Mama, Lily said as Jessica buckled her in. Yes, baby, today was a really, really good day. It was, wasn't it? And I think Friday will be even better. Jessica smiled, starting the car. I think you might be right. As they drove home through streets painted gold by the setting sun, Jessica's phone buzzed. Another email from the board, another meeting request, another reminder that her professional life was falling apart. She deleted it without reading and kept driving, because Lily was humming in the back seat. Actually humming, making music with her voice like it was the most natural thing in the world, and somehow that made everything else feel manageable. Friday came too fast and not fast enough. Lily spent the entire day preparing for the sleepover, packing and repacking her overnight bag, asking Jessica 14 times if she'd packed everything, practicing what she might say to Emma. At 4 o'clock they pulled up to Michael's house. Emma was already waiting on the porch, bouncing with excitement. You're here? We're going to have so much fun. I set up the sleeping bags in my room, and Daddy said we could have pizza again, but different toppings, and we can watch 2 movies if we want." Michael appeared behind Emma, laughing. "Breathe, Em. Let them get out of the car first." Jessica helped Lily with her bag, her stomach tight with anxiety. This was the first time she'd be away from Lily overnight since the accident. The first time she'd trust someone else to take care of her daughter when she was at her most vulnerable. "Hey." Michael's hand on her arm was gentle. "She's going to be fine, and you have my number. You can call any time, I mean it. I know, you're her mom, you're allowed to be worried, but I promise you we'll take good care of her." Jessica knelt down eye level with Lily. "Remember what we talked about. If you get scared or sad or just want to come home, you call me. Anytime, okay? I know, Mama, I'll be okay, I promise. I love you, baby. I love you, too." And then Lily picked up her bag and walked into the house with Emma, chattering about sleeping bag arrangements, and Jessica had to fight the urge to run after her. "She's going to be great," Michael said again, "and so are you." "What am I supposed to do with a whole evening to myself? Whatever you want. Isn't that the dream? No responsibilities, no schedule, just freedom." Jessica tried to remember the last time she'd had an evening to herself. Before Daniel died, she would have used it to work. After he died, she'd been too consumed with worry about Lily to think about free time. "I don't even know what I'd do," she admitted. Michael grinned. "Well, I have an idea. There's this amazing Thai place about 10 minutes from here, and I happen to know that Emma and Lily will be perfectly happy watching Disney movies and eating popcorn for the next few hours. So what do you say? Want to grab dinner as friends?" he added quickly. "Just 2 adults having a conversation that doesn't involve pizza toppings or playground strategies." Jessica knew she should say no. This was moving too fast. They barely knew each other, and she was still grieving Daniel, still figuring out how to be a widow and a single mother, and yes, she heard herself say, "That sounds perfect." They went to the Thai place, a tiny hole in the wall with incredible smells and mismatched chairs. They ordered too much food and talked about everything and nothing. Michael told her about his work, about the kids he helped, about the small victories that made the hard days worth it. Jessica told him about Reynolds Tech, about building something from nothing, about the fear that she was losing herself in the process of saving her company. "So what are you going to do?" Michael asked. "About the board." "I don't know. Part of me wants to fight, to prove I can have both, be a successful CEO and a present mother. But another part of me wonders if maybe I'm holding on to something that doesn't serve me anymore." "What does Lily think?" "She thinks I should do whatever makes me happy, which is very wise for a 7-year-old, but not particularly helpful for making actual decisions." Michael smiled. "Maybe that's exactly the answer, though. What would make you happy?" Jessica thought about it. Really thought about it. "More days like today, more evenings like this, more time with Lily where I'm actually present instead of thinking about the next meeting or the next crisis. More life, real life, not just existence." "Then maybe that's your answer." "It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Because I've spent 15 years building this company. It's my identity, my proof that I'm more than just—" She stopped, not sure how to finish. "More than what? More than a wife, more than a mother, more than what people expected me to be." Michael was quiet for a moment. "Can I tell you something from one parent to another?" "Please." "The kids don't care about our achievements. They don't care about our titles or our success or our proof of worth. They just want us. Present, available, paying attention. Emma doesn't know or care that I have a master's degree and professional credentials. She just knows that I'm her dad and I show up. That's enough." Jessica felt tears prick her eyes. "When did you get so wise?" "Years of therapy and a lot of mistakes. I'm still figuring it out." They talked until the restaurant started closing around them. Then they walked back to Michael's house slowly, neither one ready for the evening to end. Thank you, Jessica said at his front door, for tonight, for listening, for not making me feel like I'm crazy for questioning everything. You're not crazy. You're just brave enough to admit that maybe the life you built doesn't fit anymore. That takes guts. Jessica looked up at him, at his kind eyes and gentle smile, and felt something shift inside her. Not love, not yet, but the beginning of something, the possibility of something. I should check on Lily. Of course, come on in. They found the girls asleep on the living room floor, surrounded by popcorn kernels and stuffed animals, the TV still playing some movie softly in the background. Lily's hand was stretched out toward Emma's, not quite touching, but close. They're perfect, Jessica whispered. They really are. Jessica knelt beside Lily, brushing hair from her daughter's sleeping face. She looked peaceful, safe, happy. I should let her stay, Jessica said quietly. I should go home and let her have this normal, wonderful sleepover without her anxious mother hovering. You could, Michael said. Or you could crash on the couch. Keep your promise to be available if she needs you, but give her the space to have this experience. Best of both worlds. Jessica looked up at him. You wouldn't mind. I'm offering, aren't I? Plus, I make excellent pancakes. You don't want to miss that. So Jessica stayed, curled up on Michael's couch with a blanket that smelled like lavender detergent, watching her daughter sleep peacefully for the first time in 18 months, listening to the quiet sounds of a house that felt like home. And somewhere around midnight, as Michael checked on the girls one more time before heading to his own room, Jessica realized something. She was happy. Actually, genuinely happy. And maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what both she and Lily needed most. Jessica woke to the smell of pancakes and the sound of children's laughter. For a moment, she forgot where she was. The unfamiliar couch, the lavender-scented blanket, the morning light streaming through windows that weren't hers. Then it all came back, the sleepover, Michael's offer, the decision to stay. She sat up, running her hands through her hair, trying to look less like she'd slept in her clothes on a stranger's couch. Though Michael didn't feel like a stranger anymore. Somehow in just 2 weeks he'd become something else entirely. Something she wasn't quite ready to name. Mama. Lily appeared in the doorway, still in her pajamas, her hair a wild mess. You stayed. I didn't know you stayed. I wanted to be here in case you needed me. Did you have a good night? The best night ever. Emma and I stayed up really late and told stories, and we made a fort and watched 2 whole movies, and Lily paused for breath, her face glowing. And I wasn't scared at all. Not even once. Jessica's throat tightened. That's amazing, baby. I'm so proud of you. Daddy's making pancakes. Emma bounced into view behind Lily. He makes them shaped like animals. Mine's going to be a giraffe. What animal do you want, Lily? A butterfly. Ooh, that's a good one. Come on. The girls disappeared back toward the kitchen, leaving Jessica alone to process the fact that Lily had just called her experience the best night ever. 2 weeks ago, Lily barely spoke. Now she was having sleepovers and requesting butterfly-shaped pancakes. Jessica folded the blanket and followed the sounds of chaos to the kitchen. Michael stood at the stove, hair rumpled, wearing an old Boston College t-shirt and pajama pants. He was pouring batter into a pan while simultaneously preventing Emma from adding chocolate chips to everyone's pancakes without permission. Good morning, he said, catching Jessica's eye. Coffee's fresh. Mugs are in the cabinet above the sink. Fair warning, pancake production is running behind schedule due to creative differences about chocolate chip distribution. I just think everyone should have the option, Emma protested. And I think if everyone has chocolate chips, no one appreciates how special chocolate chips are. That doesn't make sense, Daddy. Welcome to parenting. Nothing makes sense. Jessica poured herself coffee and settled at the kitchen table next to Lily, who was drawing elaborate butterfly designs on a napkin with crayon. This is what I want mine to look like, Lily explained seriously, with the wings kind of big and maybe some dots here and here. That's very specific, Jessica said, smiling. think Michael can handle that level of detail." "I heard that," Michael called from the stove. "And yes, I can. I'm a pancake artist. I don't do basic shapes." 20 minutes later, they sat down to breakfast. Michael had indeed created a butterfly pancake that closely resembled Lily's design, along with a giraffe for Emma, a bear for himself, and what he claimed was a swan for Jessica, but looked more like a lumpy duck. "It's abstract," Michael defended when Emma giggled at it. "Very avant-garde. It's a blob daddy, a beautiful artistic blob." They ate with easy conversation, the girls chattering about their evening, Michael and Jessica exchanging glances over their coffee. It felt domestic, comfortable, like they'd been doing this for years instead of days. Jessica's phone buzzed. She ignored it. It buzzed again and again. "You should probably check that," Michael said gently. Jessica pulled out her phone. 7 missed calls, 12 text messages, all from work. The last one was from Richard. "Board meeting Monday 9 a.m. Your attendance is mandatory. We need to discuss your future with the company." "Everything okay?" Michael asked. Jessica set the phone down. "Just work. Nothing that can't wait until Monday." But her hands were shaking slightly as she reached for her coffee, and Michael noticed. After breakfast, as the girls went to get dressed, Michael cornered Jessica in the kitchen. "What's really going on with work?" Jessica sighed. "The board thinks I've lost focus. They're probably right. I've missed meetings, ignored emails, basically checked out for 2 weeks, and we're in the middle of a major acquisition that's falling apart without me." "What do you want to do?" "I don't know. Keep my job, lose my job, start over completely, all of the above." She laughed, but it came out bitter. "I spent 15 years building that company. It was everything to me, and now I look at it and I just feel tired, like I'm fighting for something I'm not sure I want anymore." "Then maybe it's time to stop fighting." "Easy for you to say." Michael's face shifted. "Jessica, 6 years ago, I had a position at Children's Hospital. Good salary, prestigious, exactly what I'd worked toward. But the hours were brutal and I was missing everything with Emma. Her first words, her first steps, entire weeks of her life. So I quit, took a massive pay cut to do private practice on my own terms. Everyone said I was crazy, that I was throwing away my career. Were they right about the career? Yeah, I'll never have the prestige or the salary I would have had. But I get to pick Emma up from school. I get to make pancakes on Saturday mornings. I get to be present for the life we're building together, and I've never regretted it, not once." Jessica wanted to believe it could be that simple, that she could just walk away from Reynolds Tech and everything would be fine, but she'd poured so much of herself into that company. It was proof that she mattered, that she was more than what? Michael asked gently, and Jessica realized she'd said that last part out loud. More than a wife, more than a widow, more than someone to be taken care of. The words spilled out before she could stop them. My whole life people had expectations. My parents wanted me to be a lawyer. My professors thought I should go into academia. Daniel wanted me to be happy, but he came from money, and everyone assumed I'd just be content living off his trust fund. Building Reynolds Tech was how I proved I was my own person, that I could create something meaningful on my own terms. And you did. You proved it. But Jessica, you don't have to keep proving it forever. Before she could respond, Lily appeared in the doorway. Mama, can we go to the park later? Emma says there's a new climbing thing we haven't tried yet. Jessica looked at her daughter, really looked. At the hope in her eyes, the animation in her face, the way she was asking for things again, instead of just existing in silence. Of course, baby. We can go wherever you want. After they said goodbye to Michael and Emma with promises to meet at the park that afternoon, Jessica drove home slowly, Lily chattering the entire way about the sleepover, about Emma's collection of stuffed animals, about the movies they'd watched. Mama, Lily said as they pulled into their driveway, you seemed sad this morning at breakfast. Are you okay? Jessica turned in her seat to look at her daughter. I'm figuring some things out, sweetheart, but I'm okay. Better than okay, actually. Is it about work? How did you know? Because you get this look on your face when you think about work, like you're carrying something really heavy, and you haven't had that look much lately, but it came back this morning. When did you get so perceptive? I'm not perceptive. I just pay attention. Inside the house, Jessica tried to focus on the weekend, on being present with Lily, but her phone kept buzzing with work messages, and by Sunday evening she couldn't ignore it anymore. She opened her laptop for the first time in a week and read through the disaster. The Parker acquisition was indeed falling apart. Her team had held things together as long as they could, but without her leadership, the deal was crumbling. Parker's CEO had sent an email Friday demanding Jessica's personal involvement, or they were walking. There were other problems too. A product launch delayed because Jessica hadn't approved the final specs. A key investor threatening to pull out if she didn't return their calls. Her executive team starting to fracture without her there to mediate conflicts. She'd built Reynolds Tech from nothing, and in just 2 weeks of absence, she could see the cracks forming. "Mama." Lily stood in the doorway of the home office, Mr. Hoppy in her arms. "Are you working? Just checking some emails, baby." "You have that face again. The heavy face." Jessica closed the laptop. "Come here." Lily climbed onto her lap, fitting perfectly the way she always had. Jessica breathed in the strawberry scent of her daughter's hair and tried to quiet the panic rising in her chest. "Lily, can I ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me?" "Okay. If I had to work more, not like before, but more than I have been lately, would that be okay with you?" Lily was quiet for a moment. "Is this about your company?" "Yeah." "Are they mad at you for spending time with me?" "Not mad, just worried. A lot of people depend on the company, on me. But you depend on me too, right? And I depend on you." "Of course. Then shouldn't we be the most important, more than the company people?" Jessica felt tears threaten. "When did you get so wise?" "I'm just 7, Mama, but I know you've been happier lately, since we met Michael and Emma, since you stopped working so much. You smile more, you make pancakes, you go to the park. You're like you were before Daddy died." "Kind of." "What do you mean, kind of?" "Different. But good different. Like you're still sad sometimes, but not all the time. And when you're with me, you're really with me, not thinking about other things." Jessica held her daughter tighter. "You're right. I have been happier, because of you. Because we found each other again." "Then why would you want to go back to the way it was?" It was such a simple question, such a perfectly clear 7-year-old question, and Jessica didn't have a good answer. Monday morning arrived too quickly. Jessica dressed in her best power suit, the navy one, that made her feel invincible. She needed all the armor she could get. Mrs. Chen arrived at 7:30 to stay with Lily. As Jessica was about to leave, Lily grabbed her hand. "You can do it, Mama. Whatever you decide, you can do it." "What makes you so sure?" "Because you're the bravest person I know. You told me that brave people always find their way back, and you will too." Jessica kissed her daughter's forehead, blinking back tears. "I love you, baby. Love you more." The drive to Reynolds Tech felt longer than usual. Jessica parked in her reserved spot, the one that said CEO in bold letters, and sat in the car for a full 5 minutes, staring at the building she'd built. 15 years, countless sacrifices, missed birthdays, skipped vacations, relationships neglected, all for this building, this company, this proof of her worth. She thought about Daniel, about how proud he'd been when she'd landed her first major client, how he'd celebrated every milestone with her, even as he gently reminded her that success meant nothing if she was too tired to enjoy it. She thought about Lily, about 18 months of silence and grief, about 2 weeks of butterfly pancakes and playground swings, and slowly, carefully finding their way back to each other. She thought about Michael, about the life he'd chosen, less prestige, less money, but present for the moments that mattered. Jessica pulled out her phone and called Sarah, her assistant. "I need you to gather some documents for me and schedule a meeting for tomorrow with the executive team, all of them." "Tomorrow?" But the board meeting is in 20 minutes. I know, this meeting is for after. Can you do that? Of course, Mrs. Reynolds. Is everything okay? Yes, Jessica said, and realized she meant it. Everything's going to be okay. She walked into the building, took the elevator to the executive floor, and entered the conference room where the board was already assembled. 12 faces turned toward her, some concerned, some annoyed, all expectant. Richard stood. Jessica, thank you for joining us. Please sit. I'd rather stand if that's okay. Something in her tone made them all go quiet. I've been thinking a lot over the past 2 weeks, Jessica began, about what I want, what I need, what really matters, and I've come to some conclusions. Jessica, Richard started, please, let me finish. She took a deep breath. 15 years ago, I started this company with nothing but an idea and determination to prove myself. And I did. Reynolds Tech is successful because I sacrificed everything for it. My time, my relationships, my health, my family. I told myself it was worth it, that the success would make all the sacrifice meaningful. She paused, looking at each board member in turn. 2 weeks ago, my daughter spoke for the first time in 18 months. Do you know why? Not because of the specialists I hired or the therapy sessions I paid for, because I finally stopped long enough to actually be present with her, to prioritize her above everything else. And in those 2 weeks, I got my daughter back. We're sympathetic to your situation, Richard said carefully, but I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm telling you how it's going to be. Jessica's voice was steady, clear. I'm stepping back from day-to-day operations. I'll stay on as CEO, but I'm delegating most responsibilities to the executive team. I'll handle major decisions, investor relations, strategic planning, but no more 16-hour days, no more weekends at the office, no more missing my daughter's life. That's not how we do things here, another board member said. This company needs hands-on leadership. Then promote someone to COO. Give them the authority to make operational decisions. I trust the team I've built. It's time to let them step up. And the Parker acquisition, I'll handle it personally this week. I'll fly out Wednesday, negotiate in person, and close the deal. But on my terms, with boundaries. Richard leaned forward. Jessica, with all due respect, you're asking us to restructure the entire company based on your personal needs. That's not how corporations work. Then maybe we need to rethink how corporations work. Jessica met his gaze without flinching. Because I'm not the only parent here. I'm not the only person who sacrificed family for career. And maybe if we built companies that valued people's actual lives, instead of demanding they sacrifice everything, we'd have less burnout, less turnover, and better leadership. The room was silent. I love this company, Jessica continued. I poured my soul into building it, but I won't destroy my daughter or myself to maintain an unsustainable standard. So here's what I'm offering. I stay on as CEO with reduced hours and increased delegation. You get stability, continuity, and my strategic vision without requiring me to give up my life. Or I resign and you can find someone else to work themselves to death for your shareholders. Are you threatening us? Someone asked. No, I'm being honest about my boundaries. I'm good at what I do, but I'm also a mother and that matters more. If this company can't accommodate both, then this isn't the right place for me anymore. She said it calmly, matter-of-factly, and realized as the words left her mouth that she meant them. She'd spent so long terrified of losing Reynolds Tech that she'd never considered that maybe losing it wouldn't be the end of the world. The board members exchanged glances, whispered conversations. Finally, Richard spoke. We'll need to discuss this. Can you give us the room? Of course, I'll be in my office. Jessica walked out with her head high, heart pounding. She'd just gambled her entire career on the belief that her life mattered more than her job, that she was worth more than her productivity. She had no idea if they'd accept her terms or ask for her resignation. Either way, she'd be okay. In her office, Jessica pulled out her phone and sent a text to Michael. Just told the board I'm setting boundaries. Either they accept or I walk. feeling terrified and empowered at the same time. His response came immediately: proud of you. Whatever happens, you made the brave choice. An hour later, Richard knocked on her door. Jessica looked up from her laptop where she'd been drafting a transition plan, regardless of the board's decision. We've reached a decision, Richard said, settling into the chair across from her desk. The board will accept your proposal, with conditions. Jessica's heart leaped. What conditions? You hire a COO within the next 60 days. Someone strong who can handle operations without your constant oversight. You maintain investor relationships and strategic direction, and you close the Parker deal this week. Done. And Jessica, this is a trial period, 6 months. If the company suffers, if the new structure doesn't work, we revisit this conversation. Fair enough. Richard stood to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. My daughter's 23 now. I missed most of her childhood for this career. I wouldn't recommend it. After he left, Jessica sat in her office, this corner office she'd fought so hard to earn, and felt something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. She called Michael. Hey. He answered on the second ring. How'd it go? They said yes. 6-month trial. But I get to set boundaries, actually have a life outside this office. Jessica, that's incredible. I know, I can't believe they agreed. She laughed, giddy with relief. I was so sure they'd ask for my resignation and I'd be cleaning out my desk by noon. So what happens now? Now I hire a COO, close a major deal, and figure out how to actually have work-life balance. Should be simple, right? Terrifyingly simple. Jessica smiled, looking out her window at the city below. I was thinking, after I close the Parker deal this week, maybe Lily and I could take a few days off. Actually go somewhere, be tourists in our own city. Or maybe not even our own city. Maybe we go somewhere completely new. That sounds perfect. You and Emma should come. The words were out before Jessica could think them through. There was a pause on the other end of the line. As friends, Jessica added quickly. The girls would love it. And I think I'd love it too. Are you asking me on a family vacation, Jessica Reynolds? Maybe. Is that weird? That's probably weird. We barely know each other. I'd love to, Michael interrupted. Emma would be thrilled. And for the record, I think we know each other pretty well at this point. After they hung up, Jessica texted Lily. Big news. Mama's coming home early today. Let's go to the park. The response was immediate. Really? Yay! Jessica looked around her office at the awards on the walls, the photos of company milestones, the tangible proof of everything she'd built. It was all still there, still mattered, but it wasn't everything anymore. She grabbed her purse, closed her laptop, and walked out of the office at 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, something she hadn't done in 15 years. And it felt absolutely right. When she got home, Lily was waiting on the front porch, already in her park clothes, bouncing with excitement. You came home early. You really came home early. I promised, didn't I? Come on, let's go see if Michael and Emma are at the park. They were. Michael pushed both girls on the swings, while Jessica sat on a nearby bench, watching the afternoon sun paint everything gold. Watching her daughter laugh and soar and make cloud sounds without any fear holding her back. Mama, look, I'm flying so high. And Jessica realized that Lily wasn't the only one who'd been afraid to fly. But maybe, just maybe, they were both learning that the only way to touch the sky was to let go of the ground. 3 months passed like pages turning in a book Jessica didn't want to put down. The Parker acquisition closed in early November. Jessica flew out to Seattle, negotiated for 2 days straight, and returned home by Thursday evening because she'd promised Lily they'd carve pumpkins together. The deal was worth $40 million, but the look on Lily's face when Jessica walked through the door on time was priceless. Reynolds Tech adapted to Jessica's new structure better than anyone expected. The COO she hired, a brilliant woman named Patricia Chen, who'd been running operations at a competitor, stepped into the role like she'd been born for it. The executive team flourished with increased autonomy. And Jessica discovered something revolutionary. The company didn't collapse without her constant presence. It actually thrived. She worked from home 2 days a week, left the office by five on the other days, stopped checking email after dinner, and somehow, impossibly, the world kept turning. But the real transformation happened in the spaces between work, in the ordinary moments that had seemed so impossible just months before. Like Tuesday evenings when Michael came over to help with homework while Jessica made dinner, and somehow they'd all end up laughing over Emma's creative spelling and Lily's elaborate math explanations. Or Saturday mornings at the park, which had become a sacred ritual for all four of them. Or the Sunday afternoon in December when they all went ice skating and Michael caught Jessica when she stumbled and his hands stayed on her waist a moment longer than necessary, and something unspoken passed between them. Lily noticed everything. "You like Michael," she said one night as Jessica tucked her into bed. Not a question, a statement. Jessica's heart skipped. "He's a good friend." "But you like him like him, like how Daddy used to say he liked you." Jessica sat on the edge of Lily's bed, choosing her words carefully. "Would that be okay with you if I did?" Lily was quiet, thinking. She still clutched the smooth gray stone every night, though she didn't need it to speak anymore. It had become something else, a talisman, a reminder of how far she'd come. "I think Daddy would want you to be happy," Lily said finally. "And Michael makes you smile the way Daddy used to. Different, but good. And Emma's like the sister I always wanted." "When did you get so wise, baby?" "I'm almost 8 now, Mama. I'm practically grown up." Jessica laughed, pulling Lily close. "Not too grown up. You're still my baby. Can I tell you a secret? Always. Sometimes I forget what Daddy's voice sounds like, and that makes me really sad. But then I remember other things, like how he used to dance with me in the kitchen and how he always let me win at checkers, even though he pretended he was trying really hard. And those memories don't make me as sad anymore. They make me smile." Jessica's eyes stung. "That's called healing, sweetheart. It means you're learning to hold the love without holding all the hurt." "Is that what you're doing too with Michael?" "I'm trying to. It's scary, loving someone new. It feels like maybe I'm leaving Daddy behind." "But you're not," Lily said with the absolute certainty only children possess. "Daddy's still here." She touched Jessica's heart through her shirt. "Right here. He doesn't go away just because we love other people too. Our hearts just get bigger." Jessica wondered when she'd stopped being the one teaching Lily about life and started learning from her instead. The holidays came and went. Christmas at Jessica's house with Michael and Emma staying for dinner, then the whole next week together at a cabin in Vermont, where the girls built snowmen and had epic snowball fights, while Jessica and Michael cooked elaborate meals and talked late into the night after the children fell asleep. New Year's Eve, they all watched fireworks from Michael's rooftop, and when the clock struck midnight, Michael's hand found Jessica's in the darkness. "Happy New Year," he whispered. "Happy New Year." They didn't kiss, not then, but the possibility hung in the air between them like promise. January brought Lily's 8th birthday, a celebration at the park with 15 of her classmates, a far cry from the quiet, anxious child who'd stopped speaking 20 months before. Jessica watched her daughter laugh and play and boss the other kids around during party games and felt her heart might burst from pride and gratitude. "She's incredible," Michael said, standing beside Jessica as they watched Lily organize an elaborate treasure hunt. "You've raised an amazing kid. We got lucky. She's stronger than both of us combined. She gets that from you." Jessica bumped his shoulder with hers. "Flatterer. Truth teller." February was when things shifted. Michael's sister got sick, nothing life-threatening, but serious enough that she needed help with her kids for a few weeks. Michael spent most of his time at her house across town juggling his practice Emma and helping his sister. Emma stayed with Jessica and Lily 4 nights that month. The girls shared Lily's bed, whispering and giggling late into the night, and Jessica realized she loved having Emma around. loved the energy she brought, the way she pulled Lily out of her shell, the chaos and joy of her presence. She also realized how much she missed Michael when he wasn't there. "I think I'm falling in love with him," Jessica told her therapist, the one she'd started seeing in November, because she'd finally admitted she needed help processing her own grief. "And that terrifies me." "Why does it terrify you?" "Because what if I lose him too? What if I let myself love him and then something happens and—" Jessica couldn't finish the sentence. "You can't live your life afraid of loss, Jessica. Grief is the price we pay for love, but love is also what makes life worth living." Jessica knew she was right, but knowing and feeling were two different things. In March, Lily's school announced their spring recital. Each grade would perform something: songs, poems, short plays. The second grade was doing a musical number about butterflies and sunshine. "Will you come, Mama?" Lily asked, bringing home the permission slip. "It's on a Friday afternoon. I know you usually work on Fridays, but—" "I'll be there," Jessica interrupted. "Front row, I promise. And can Michael and Emma come too? Emma's in 4th grade, so she's performing something else, but she could watch my part, and Michael could watch both of us, and I'll ask them, but I'm sure they'd love to come." The recital was 3 weeks away. Lily practiced her song constantly in the car, at breakfast, before bed. The lyrics were simple, something about butterflies spreading their wings and flowers reaching for the sun, but Lily sang them like they were the most important words in the world. "You're going to be amazing," Jessica told her one night after the 5th rehearsal in their living room. "What if I forget the words? What if I get scared and my voice stops working again? Then you'll remember them, or you won't, and that'll be okay too. And your voice isn't going to stop working, baby. That's not how it works anymore. You found your voice. It's not going anywhere. Promise, promise." But Jessica understood the fear. Lily had been speaking for 6 months now, full sentences, endless questions, even arguments and complaints. But the trauma that had stolen her voice in the first place still lurked in the shadows. The fear that it could happen again. The week before the recital, Michael finally finished helping his sister, and things returned to normal. Tuesday dinner at Jessica's, Wednesday at the park, Saturday morning pancakes at Michael's. Except it wasn't normal anymore. Something had shifted during those weeks apart. They'd missed each other, actually missed each other, and neither of them was pretending otherwise. Thursday night, after the girls were asleep, Emma staying over again, Michael and Jessica sat on her back porch with wine and the comfortable silence of people who'd moved past small talk. "I missed this," Michael said finally. "Missed you." Jessica's heart hammered. "I missed you too." "Jessica, I need to tell you something." She turned to look at him. His face was serious but not worried, determined. "I'm in love with you, have been for a while now, and I know that's complicated because of Daniel and because we've been taking things slow for the girls' sake and because love is terrifying after loss, but I can't keep pretending I don't feel this way." He took a breath. "I'm not asking you to say it back. I'm just asking if maybe you feel it too, even a little." Jessica set down her wine glass with shaking hands. "I'm terrified. I know. I loved Daniel with everything I had, and losing him nearly destroyed me, and the thought of loving you, of opening myself up to that kind of loss again—" Her voice cracked. "I know," Michael repeated softly. "But Jessica, we're already there. You and Lily are already part of our lives. Emma already loves you both. I already love you both. The risk isn't in admitting it. The risk is in pretending we can protect ourselves by holding back." Jessica looked at him, really looked, at his kind eyes and gentle smile and the courage it took to say what he'd said. "I love you too," she whispered. "God help me, I do, and it terrifies me." "Good, it should. Anything worth having is terrifying." He leaned forward and kissed her, soft and slow and perfect, and Jessica felt something inside her chest that had been locked tight since Daniel died finally open. When they pulled apart, they were both crying a little. "Is this crazy?" Jessica asked. Is it too fast? Probably, but who cares? The girls will be thrilled. You know they will. Jessica laughed through her tears. They've been plotting this for months. They're very good at plotting. They sat there holding hands under the stars, and Jessica felt something she hadn't felt in 2 years. Not just happiness, not just contentment, but hope for the future. Actual, tangible hope that life could be good again. Different, but good. The day of the recital arrived sunny and warm, one of those perfect late March days when winter finally releases its grip and spring feels like more than just a promise. Jessica took the afternoon off, met Michael and Emma at the school at 2 o'clock. They found seats in the auditorium, not quite front row because those had filled up fast, but close enough to see everything. The fourth graders performed first. Emma's class did a medley of songs about weather, and Emma belted out her lines about thunderstorms with the confidence of someone who'd never learned to be afraid of an audience. Michael beamed with pride, and Jessica found herself tearing up just watching this little girl who'd befriended Lily when no one else could reach her. Then came the second graders. 25, 7, and 8-year-olds filed onto the stage in butterfly wings made of cardboard and tissue paper, wearing yellow shirts to represent sunshine. Lily was in the second row, her wings slightly crooked, her hair in the braids Jessica had carefully done that morning. The music started. The children began to sing, and Lily's voice rang out clear and strong. Jessica's vision blurred. She felt Michael's hand find hers and squeeze. The song was about transformation, about caterpillars becoming butterflies, about how change was scary but necessary, about spreading your wings even when you're afraid to fly. Lily sang every word, loud and proud and completely unafraid. When it ended, the auditorium erupted in applause. Parents stood cheering. Jessica was crying openly now, not even trying to hide it. Beside her, Michael wasn't much better. "She did it," Jessica whispered. "She really did it." "Never doubted her for a second," Michael said, though his voice was thick with emotion too. After the recital, families gathered in the hallway for cookies and punch. Lily ran to Jessica, her wings askew, her face glowing. "Did you see me, Mama? Did you hear me?" "I heard you, baby. You were perfect. So perfect." Jessica pulled her into a fierce hug. "I wasn't even scared. Well, maybe a tiny bit scared at first. But then I remembered what you said about my voice not going anywhere, and I just sang." Emma appeared, pulling Lily away. "Come on, Mrs. Anderson said we can have 2 cookies each, and I want to make sure we get the chocolate chip ones before they're gone." The girls ran off, leaving Jessica and Michael standing in the crowded hallway. "You know what I realized watching them up there," Michael said. "What? They saved each other. Not just Lily, Emma too. Emma was so used to being the loud one, the one who filled every silence. But with Lily, she learned to listen, learned that friendship isn't just about talking, and Lily learned that her voice matters, that she has things to say and people who want to hear them. They're pretty amazing together. They are, and so are we." Jessica turned to face him fully. The hallway was loud with celebrating families, but in that moment, it felt like they were the only 2 people there. "Michael Carter, are you saying what I think you're saying?" "Depends. What do you think I'm saying? That maybe this thing between us, whatever it is, maybe it's not just about us. Maybe it's about building something bigger, a family, a real family." Michael smiled. "That's exactly what I'm saying. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday, when we're all ready. What do you think?" Jessica thought about Daniel, about the life they'd built and the love they'd shared, about how he'd always wanted her to be happy even more than he wanted her to be successful, about how love doesn't replace love, it just expands, it makes room for more. "I think someday sounds perfect." That night, after celebrating with ice cream at Scoops and bringing both girls back to Jessica's house for a sleepover after story time and goodnight kisses and promises that yes, they could stay up just a little bit longer, Jessica and Michael sat on the couch in the quiet house. "I have something for Lily," Michael said, pulling a small box from his pocket. "I was going to wait, but after today, it feels right." He opened the box. Inside were 4 smooth river stones, each one polished and beautiful, each one unique. I found these over the past few months, collected them specifically for this. One for Lily, one for Emma, one for you, one for me. He picked up Lily's stone, slightly bigger than the one he'd given her that first day. Lily's gotten so much stronger. She doesn't need the stone to speak anymore, but I thought maybe she'd want a new one, a different kind of magic. What kind? The kind that reminds us we're not alone, that we found each other, that we're a team now even when we're apart. Jessica picked up her stone, smooth and gray with a stripe of white running through it. It's beautiful. They're family stones, if that's not too presumptuous. It's not presumptuous, it's perfect. They gave the stones to the girls the next morning over pancakes. Emma immediately declared hers was the best stone in the entire world and had to carry it everywhere. Lily held hers, carefully running her thumb over the smooth surface. "Michael," Lily said quietly, "can I ask you something?" "Of course." "The stone you gave me that first day, the one that helped me talk again, was it really magic?" Michael smiled. "What do you think?" Lily considered this seriously. I think the magic was already in me. The stone just helped me believe I could do it." "That's exactly right. So these new stones, they're not magic either." "No, but they're special. They're a promise that we'll always be here for each other, that we're family now in all the ways that matter." Lily looked at Jessica, those hazel eyes, Daniel's eyes searching for permission. Jessica nodded. "If you want that, if that feels right to you." "It does," Lily said simply. Then she looked at Emma. "Does that mean you're my sister now?" "Basically." Emma bounced in her seat. "I always wanted a sister. This is the best day ever. We should probably take things slow," Michael said, though he was smiling. "Give everyone time to adjust." "Or," Jessica interrupted, "we could stop pretending we're taking things slow and just admit we're already a family. Maybe not officially, maybe not on paper, but in all the ways that actually matter." Michael looked at her, love and hope and slight disbelief warring on his face. "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." That afternoon, all 4 of them went to the park. Their park. The place where everything had started 6 months before. The girls ran ahead to the swings, and Jessica and Michael followed slowly, hand in hand. "You know what I realized," Jessica said. "That day when Lily first spoke, when she said, 'whoosh' on that swing, I thought that was the miracle, the moment everything changed." It wasn't. It was, but it wasn't the only one. Every day since then has been a small miracle. Every word Lily speaks, every smile, every moment of joy. Every time you make pancakes, or Emma tells ridiculous stories, or we all sit together and it feels like home, those are miracles too. The ordinary kind. The best kind. They reached the swings where Emma was already showing Lily some new technique she'd invented for going higher. The late afternoon sun painted everything golden, and the air smelled like spring and new beginnings. "Higher, Emma," Lily called out. "I want to touch the clouds. You have to make the sound. Remember the whoosh sound." "Whoosh," Lily shouted, laughing. "I'm flying through clouds. I'm flying so high." Michael started pushing both swings, and Jessica stood back watching. Her daughter, who'd been silent for 18 months, who'd been so broken Jessica feared she'd never heal, was soaring through the air, laughing and shouting, and completely radiantly alive. That night, Lily placed the new stone on her nightstand next to the old one. 2 stones side by side. The one that had helped her find her voice, and the one that represented the family they'd built together. "Mama," Lily said as Jessica tucked her in. "Yes, baby. I love our family, all 4 of us." "Me too, sweetheart, me too." "Do you think Daddy knows about Michael and Emma, about how happy we are?" Jessica brushed hair from Lily's forehead, her heart full to bursting. "I think he knows, and I think he's happy for us, because the best way to honor someone we loved is to keep living, keep loving, keep being brave enough to let our hearts grow bigger." "That's what you said, that our hearts just get bigger when we love more people." They don't run out of room. Exactly. Lily yawned, her eyes already closing. Night, Mama. Love you. Love you too, baby. So much. Jessica turned off the light and stood in the doorway for a moment, watching her daughter sleep. The stones on the nightstand caught the moonlight coming through the window, smooth and solid and real. Downstairs, Michael was cleaning up the dinner dishes. Jessica joined him and they worked in comfortable silence, moving around each other like they'd been doing this for years instead of months. Thank you, Jessica said finally. For what? For seeing us, for not giving up, for being exactly what we needed, even when we didn't know we needed it. You gave me something too, you know. You and Lily. You reminded me that life isn't over just because we've lost someone, that there's still joy to be found, still love to give and receive, still reasons to make pancakes and go to parks and believe in magic stones. Jessica laughed, wiping down the counter. The stones weren't really magic, you know. I don't know. Seems pretty magical to me. A silent little girl finds her voice. A workaholic CEO finds balance. A lonely single dad finds love again. 2 kids find sisters in each other. That's a lot of magic for a few smooth rocks. When you put it that way. He pulled her close and she let herself lean into him, breathing in his familiar scent, coffee and soap and something uniquely Michael. I love you, she whispered. I love you too. Outside, the world kept turning. Reynolds Tech would still be there Monday morning with its meetings and deadlines and constant demands. Bills would still need to be paid. Homework would still need to be checked. All the ordinary challenges of life would still exist. But for the first time in 2 years, Jessica felt ready to face them. Not alone, not barely surviving, but with a partner, with family, with hope. The smooth gray stones on Lily's nightstand weren't magic. They never had been, but they were symbols of something just as powerful, the courage to heal, the strength to love again, and the faith that silence can speak again if you give it time and patience and permission. Sometimes the greatest miracle isn't found in grand gestures or supernatural intervention. Sometimes it's found in the quiet moments, in butterfly pancakes and playground swings, in second chances and chosen family, in the slow, patient work of rebuilding a life from broken pieces. And sometimes the greatest magic is simply the courage to believe that after the worst loss, after the deepest grief, after the longest silence, there's still a chance to fly.